You want me to bring the hammer down?
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. We hope it is good. Happy New Year, and welcome to another edition of Geeks Who Like Sports. As always, I am Ray Carsillo in very windy Los Angeles, California, joined my best friend in the entire world over in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, Elias. Lee, how are you doing today, and how are you doing, my friend, in the new year?
I'm doing great. I'm holding Thor's hammer. Apparently, I'm worthy. Now, this feels like plastic.
Yeah.
It's not that heavy, but as you can see, Ray, I have picked it up, and watch this. Ready? When I call for it, for those of you watching, I just caught. You can see me, little movie magic there. I'm doing well, right? Got some cool gifts over the holidays. Got some cool sports stories. My brother Alan got me this really cool Rocky replica statue, which I think is pretty cool. Comes with the green rain acid marks on it, thus making it authentic to Philadelphia. But I'm doing good, buddy. There's a lot of cool stuff to talk about again. It's good. You look good, Ray. You look well.
Thank you. I feel well. Actually, I feel like garbage. But yesterday I felt
for that. Yeah.
Yes. Well, yes, because we'll get into that. I had a late evening because Raw was Netflix. I am my voice is a little raw from all the booing, but we're gonna get into all of that later in the show. We have a big show for you folks. Again, we took a couple of weeks off for the holidays. We've got football, we've got baseball, we've got hockey, we've got basketball, we've got Superman, we've got Marvel, we've got WWE, all kinds of stuff. Fantastic Four. It's all over. It's going to happen. We're going to give it to you in going to try and inject it into your veins in like 60 minutes.
Yeah, you're going to feel it today.
Yeah. Like it. So we're going to kick things off, Lee, with mention the NFL playoffs. The bracket has
Go
been set.
Birds!
Yes.
This is the point of the season. You root for me.
Yes.
Yes, not the Eagles.
I root for you.
You root for me and my team, who is very, very much potentially going to the Super Bowl, but we will see.
Yes. To the surprise of no one, the Chiefs and the Lions are the two number one seeds.
Cool.
They will get the byes, and very well deserved for both of those teams. Lee, I have our brackets from earlier. We were spot on with some predictions and way off with others, and that's the beauty of the football season.
Yeah, and injuries.
Injuries and all kinds of stuff. I mean, to be fair, what is it? We both predicted the Eagles to win the East. We both predicted the Bills. We both predicted the Lions. You predicted the Falcons to win the NFC South. I predicted the Bucks. Yeah. So that's one for me.
Yeah.
We both predicted the Niners. Way off on that one. That Super Bowl hangover from last year really hit them.
Big time.
Texans and Chiefs we were spot on with. And I predicted the Ravens out of the. Actually, I just realized, aside from I went 7-1 in my division winner picks.
Yeah,
actually, I didn't know. You were close. You did 5-3, which still isn't bad.
I'll take it.
Yeah. The Bengals unfortunately got off to a terrible start and came up roaring at the end and just fell a little short. Neither one of us expected the Broncos though to make the playoffs.
No,
How about them sneaking
that was the surprise of the season by far.
Yeah. So that was probably the surprise of the season. I would definitely say Washington, and I would say the Broncos for the two conferences.
Yeah, and I think where we're at, I think where we're at now, Ray, is what I was trying to say, is kind of what we've been saying for the last few weeks. There are 4 teams right now that are massive Super Bowl favorites. If any of the other teams win, it's a major upset situation, right?
100%.
So, and that's what we're looking at. That's what we're looking at right now. This is a top-heavy season. So, any given Sunday, anything can happen. Nothing is guaranteed here, but these top 4 teams just are immensely stronger than the rest of the field.
Yeah, no, Chiefs, Bills, Eagles, Lions. I think anything outside of that is going to be
Minnesota for sure, but that's they're an outlier right now. They have a harder road.
Absolutely. Minnesota could be in there. You could make an argument for the Ravens, right? I would even say don't count out Jim Harbaugh's Chargers.
Right.
Just because they have, at least in my opinion, an easy first game, and that's where I want to start.
I don't think you can count out anyone. I'm just saying that there have been years past where wild card teams hey, they could win. They could do it.
Yes.
I'm not feeling that way this year. Again, outside Minnesota, who is going to have to go through the Lions at some point. Yeah,
Yeah,
so
I mean,
it doesn't matter.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, right now, I mean, we're going to get to the Vikings, but I want to start with Chargers and Texans. The Texans taking advantage of a soft division. The Chargers, a top 5 defense. Justin Herbert, not everything on him this year. Jim Harbaugh, tons of experience. Lee, I think the AFC is pretty predictable, but if there's going to be one upset, one lower seed, I think the Chargers over the Texans.
No, I would agree with you 100%, especially when you look at that resume from that coach and that team. The Texans have not been amazing this year. So, again, it's a tough one to predict, believe it or not. But I agree with you that the Chargers probably should win that game.
Yeah, no, for sure. Getting them finally to the second round. And then you have the Ravens and Steelers, 2 teams, same division, going in complete opposite directions. The Ravens are flying high. They've been playing really well. Derrick Henry's been playing great. They had a little bit of an injury bug, but the Steelers lost their last 4 of the season, lost 4 in a row. They kind of remind me of the Eagles of last year, limping into the playoffs.
Sure.
And plus they have to go to Baltimore. Even though these 2 teams extremely familiar with each other, these 2 coaches extremely familiar with each other, I think, again, if either of the Harbaugh brothers are going to advance this week, it's going to be Jim and both Harbaugh brothers should advance. It should be Jim and John. Mike Tomlin, I think you are going to miss the. I think you're going to miss the boat again. I think it'll be 5 losses in a row for the Steelers, and Russell Wilson's special comeback season will come up. Will have an abrupt end in Baltimore. Lee, your thoughts?
This is what I'd say to you. There are ample examples of teams who have finished the season on a losing streak and surged in the playoffs. I think you have to keep that in the back of your mind with this team. But a lot of times those records are based off of, they're resting players because they're in the playoffs already, or something happens, right? They ran into 3 hard opponents. I think in this case, though, the win for that team is Russell Wilson's comeback season and that they have a future. And I think that when that was kind of established, you started to see them like they relaxed a little bit. And I'm not sure there's the playoff experience there that's needed that the Ravens have. The Ravens were just in the Super Bowl not that long ago. Okay, so there's a hunger aspect to this. I don't think Pittsburgh has that as much as the Ravens do. So you got to pick Baltimore in that game.
Actually, I'm going to write these down. So we're both taking Baltimore.
Yeah, I think it's unlikely we're going to disagree on any of these, but please.
I highly doubt we will, but I'm going to write it down just in case.
Write them down. Yeah, write them down.
Just in case. This way we have it, just like we took our notes at the beginning of the year. So, all right, Baltimore, we're taking the Chargers. The other game, this one, I think, again, we're going to agree on. Bills and Broncos. The Broncos are a great story. First rookie quarterback since John Elway to take the Broncos to the playoffs in Bo Nix. But they are building towards the future. They have a lot of good pieces in place. I said it in the draft that Bo Nix was a NFL-ready quarterback, and after a slow start the first month or so, the game kind of slowed down for him. You could see it. He stepped up and has had a great second half to his season and has driven the Broncos to, even against the Chiefs backups. I get that was the Chiefs backups. That was a convincing 38-0 win against the defending champs, even then with resting everybody, which also shows the lack of depth maybe in Kansas City and the fact that Denver's like, we can come up and for a big game that we know we have to win. But they're going to Buffalo in January. The Bills look like a team on a mission. Like, again, they are looking for a collision course with Kansas City in the AFC Championship. Lee, I think it's the Bills over the Broncos here. I think it'll be a good game, but I think the Bills are going to win this one.
It's all up to the Bills and which Bills team shows up, right? If they show up wanting to go to the Super Bowl, they're going to win this game easily.
Yeah.
It's simple. I mean, it's that simple. This is the Bills' game to lose. Yeah.
Absolutely. So we're all in agreement there. Moving over to the NFC, you mentioned the Vikings earlier. Vikings, Rams. This is intriguing because you've got Matthew Stafford, right? You've got a veteran Rams squad that is getting healthy at the right time, a team only a couple of years removed from the Super Bowl. But the Vikings, even after stubbing their toe against the Lions last week, does Sam Darnold, does his Cinderella season continue? And I'm leaning towards yes, Lee.
No, I'm 100% picking the Vikings. We just saw this happen in baseball a season ago with the Rangers. All right, like you miss out the last day of the season.
Yes,
right. Different sport, but if they're not motivated right now, they weren't the team that we thought they were. So I'm picking the Vikings right now. Right.
Yeah. Yeah. No,
that's
for sure.
Easy one for me.
Yeah.
You got to get back. You got to get back and play for that division, even though it's not a division. You know what I mean? Fight that.
Sure, absolutely. Again, what people want to see Vikings Lions rematch the same way they probably want Bills Chiefs, or we'll see maybe Lions Eagles, but we'll get to that in a second.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, I think this is gonna be a good game. I think it's gonna be better than people think. I think though.
I don't think it's gonna be I don't think they're gonna run out of the building with it. I'm just saying that I think they're gonna win.
Yeah, no, I think the Vikings. I mean, again, having to go on the road, but they're going to LA. It's not like they're going to a tough weather situation, right? Like if the Vikings were having to go to Green Bay or something, maybe like or Philly, you go but they're going to LA. And even with Stafford's veteranness, I don't think the Rams have really been tested much this year. They did have that amazing shootout win against the Bills, right, who went back and forth. And if it does, I'll say this, if it does turn into a shootout, I would favor the Rams actually over the Vikings, but I don't think it will.
I don't think it will. I don't think it'll be coached that way, even if they want it to be. I think what we did find out about Minnesota versus Detroit is that I don't think that game and these standings show anything other than that this is how good the Lions are, right?
Yes.
Like the Lions, Minnesota's a very good team, but I think what we're seeing is how much better the Lions are than Minnesota.
Yeah.
And like that speaks to the Lions about how elite they are this season. They're on a mission.
I mean, Aaron Glenn came in with an amazing game plan and just shut down that Viking offense in that game and just really.
I mean, that's the difference though, right?
Yes. And now the Lions will have a week to prepare for whoever they'll have plenty of rest and time to prepare for whoever their opponent might be. But that's another story for another week. Moving on, Washington heading down to Tampa Bay. Again, this is a tough one to call just because Baker Mayfield always seems to pull something out of his butt. He's got like a little bit of magic to him, but I just think that Washington right now, they believe in themselves. I think that overall they are a healthier team. They overall have a little more talent on that team. And I think that the cream of the crop will rise to the top.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that the Commanders, I don't think they'll go much farther than the wild card round, but I'm taking the Commanders over the Bucs.
That's an interesting pick, Ray. That's a hard one for me to pick. I'm actually going to take the Bucs over the Commanders, so we can disagree on this one. Now, I morally want the Commanders to win because my brother's a big Commanders fan, and I don't want him to feel that angst. But let's be honest, the Commanders are a new team. They're running on a lot of energy right now. That is just the story of the season.
Yeah.
And I think the Bucs are far more experienced of a team than the Commanders are in this postseason situation. So I'm actually going to pick the Bucs here.
That's fair. You're taking experience over talent. There's a lot of and that's fair.
This is not the year of the Commanders for playoff success.
No, I mean, look. If the Commanders do beat the Bucs, I don't think they're getting past the second round.
Right.
But it is definitely one of those things where I just think Jaden Daniels is. Like I said it in the draft. I said he was going to be the best quarterback coming out of the draft. He has proven so far that is the case. I just think the Bucs have a lot of injuries.
Yeah, I just have a feeling the Bucs they know what to do in this situation, and I think what you can expect is Washington to go up early, but lose it in the second half.
Yeah, I mean, we'll get into this. That happened a lot in college where you saw a lot of teams get up to, all the bowl games over the holidays, a lot of teams would get up to an early lead, and then you would see the quote-unquote better team or eventual winning team kind of come back over the course of things. And so be interested to see what happens here if youth and talent can overcome experience. Because, again, the Bucs, even with Baker Mayfield, they were in the playoffs last year. Obviously, a lot of guys were there with the Tom Brady runs and whatnot. Mike Evans, which I thought was probably my favorite play of the weekend, got one on the last play of the game. Instead of taking a knee, the Bucs threw him the ball so he could tie Jerry Rice's consecutive 1,000-yard seasons record, which he deserved. And people were like, well, it took 17 games. He missed a month with an injury, so he didn't play all 17 games. Otherwise, he would have had this record weeks ago. So I think so good on them. They do have that team mentality. It's gonna be interesting to see. This is gonna be, I think, the most interesting game of the weekend. I'm gonna say Commanders and Bucs. So,
that's a good point.
Last one. Again, I think we're gonna be in full agreement here. Again, another team trending in the wrong direction, and I also got banged up a lot in the last week of the season. The Packers going to the Eagles. The Eagles, even their backups were able to handle and dismantle the Giants, their third-string quarterback. Which honestly, thank you. So that this way we hold on to the number 3 overall pick. And the Packers, again, going in the wrong direction. I think the Eagles should. You never know what's going to happen, but I think the Eagles should handle the Packers
they rested Saquon, they rested Hurts. I mean, the big question for this game is where's Jalen Hurts at from his concussion recovery? That's the only question mark.
Yeah.
Enough time has gone by. I did say when that injury happened, if that was going to happen, that was the right time for it to happen.
Yeah.
And then Saquon just got sat out from breaking a record. If you don't think he's ready to go.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, and interesting, just on the Saquon, because people have been asking me about that with that record. My thought is that you got to do what's best for the team, but when you're staring down a record like that, it should be up to the player. And I'm sure that they had a discussion with him prior to sitting him. There's like, oh, he's mad. Like no one's heard from Saquon. Nobody knows what's going on there. But I think he did the right thing by sitting out. But at the same time, I think that's the player's decision at the end of the year.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's the thing. It comes down to the player. And I think that, and I think that he was good with it. And I think that's what matters. And I think that, again, they're playing for a championship. They're not playing for records, as nice as they would be.
Yeah. But I'm picking birds in that game.
Yeah, no, so we're in a complete agreement, except for I'm taking the Commanders, you're taking the Bucks. So we'll see what happens there. But it's gonna be fun. NFL playoffs. It was a fun end of the season. My Giants, of course, decided to win a meaningless game anyway against the Colts to move themselves down 2 spots in the draft. But also the Patriots did the same thing and they slipped down to 4. So I get it. You play to win the game. But come on, guys. Actually, before we move on, the Giants announced that they're going to retain their head coach and general manager.
Yeah, the head coach I agree with.
The head coach I agree with. The general manager, ooh boy,
yeah, that's tough.
That I get that. I feel like they're kind of a package deal a little bit, but it's not Dable's fault what happened this year. But boy, oh boy,
I think
after Hard Knocks, after what happened with Hard Knocks, it is hard to convince anyone that Joe Shane is an NFL-worthy general manager because
we're about to find out.
Yeah, because here's the thing. You're getting one more chance. You're going to be able to draft a quarterback at the number 3 spot, whether that's Quinn Ewers, whether that's Cam Ward. I don't want Shador Sanders, whether that's Milroe, whoever comes out, whether you want to take a chance on Carson Beck and his elbow surgery. Don't know. This is your last chance. You are going to hitch your wagon to whoever you draft out of that 3 spot. And if he's great, all's forgiven. Yeah, and if not, I hope nobody ever sees you. We're going to boo you out of town the way we boo everybody who booed Hulk Hogan last night. We'll get to that later. I can't wait to talk about that.
I wonder if there was some concern over, did this guy draft Daniel Jones?
And he didn't.
He didn't. And I think that's the chance that I bet you that's how that meeting went. It's like, look, I had a quarterback I didn't want. You gave him a contract.
Right.
It's like, I would like to show what I can do because I'm going to go someplace else and win. That might convince me if I'm the owner, but we'll see.
That's true, because that was a John Mara decision to extend Jones for sure.
Yeah. I mean, he might have said, why don't we just try it my way? I know the team. I know the coach. Just let me have 1 year.
Yeah.
And look, it's funny now at the end of the season how Sirianni is the toast of the town again.
Yeah.
He was 1 inch away from being fired at one point.
Yeah.
Shows you how coaching works in the NFL. But picking the birds, quick one for you, Ray.
Yeah.
Before we get into another sport. Speaking of drafts and positioning in the drafts, PWHL has done something incredibly interesting that I think leagues are going to pay attention to. Once you are mathematically eliminated from the playoffs in that league, you fall into a draft pool where you are rewarded for winning games after you are eliminated. And the team with the most points after that point will win the first overall pick.
Oh, I like that.
I like that a lot.
Yeah, right? Like that makes a lot of sense because that gives you motivation to keep winning.
Right.
Like again, it makes it so that you're not being punished.
I love it.
Or you're not going to throw games, right? Like I mean, that's the thing. You look at the NFL. How many of us, all of us Giants fans, were begging the Giants to lose out?
Right.
Like you hate rooting against your own team.
Yeah,
now it gives you something to root for.
Yeah, we're going to make a mini clip about this. And obviously, we would definitely want to know what you think out there listening to this. But I'm going to say it again. The cool thing is that, the concern is, well, what if they're really bad and can't win? Then do a better job managing the team, right? Like everything you do, every decision you make should be towards winning games at the professional level. So I like the fact, first off, you're trying to get in the playoffs, but if your team is not there yet, you still have to win. And you know what? I'll tell you this from a coaching standpoint. I want my team that sucks trying to win at the end of the season, because then you got to learn how to play a full-term season.
Yes.
Right? So I love this idea from the PWHL. I hope everybody does it.
Well, and it's also one of those things where a team that maybe gels late in the season after moves are made or rookies are called up or something like that can be rewarded for finding that chemistry, even if it was a bit late,
like,
you know,
you're always playing for something. Like, look at the Chicago White Sox, right?
Yeah.
Gave up.
Yeah.
All right. Like the A's gave up.
Yeah.
All right. Like, we're talking a lot of different sports here, but like, I like the idea of, no, you got to fight for your draft pick. I love that. Great stuff by the PWHL.
Yes. That is a fantastic idea. I love it. Going back to football, though, we've went with the pros. We're going to move over to, which also, by the way, I wanted to also mention, Tom Coughlin was also a guy who almost run out of town and then went on to win a Super Bowl and then won another one for this.
It's true. It can happen. It can happen.
It can happen. It can absolutely happen. Sometimes guys deserve a second chance, and sometimes they don't. But we'll see. Moving over to the NCAA. Ooh, the college football playoff bracket.
Penn State.
Penn State looked fantastic. Not surprisingly, looked fantastic against Boise State.
Ray, I'm going to say this real quick before you give the scores. A few weeks ago, you were given some crap on the interweb from people saying, you're crazy. This is stupid. The underdogs aren't going to win. All 4 teams remaining underdogs in their semifinal game, thus proving this playoff format should have been in there for a long time. It proves it does not matter if you get a bye week, what ranking you have. The national championship being decided historically from the top 2 teams, then to the 4 teams, was stupid. All right. No number 1, 2, 3, 4s in the final. It's insane. That's all.
5, 6. It's all 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah,
it's beautiful. And I'm going to say this again too. For those of you saying, "Well, the bye week screwed them," then prepare for the bye week. Prepare. You prepare. If you were not prepared to take on an underdog, you don't deserve to win. It is that simple. Every sport. And here's the thing. There's no sport, especially football, where you're going to convince me that resting players is not a better tactic.
That's BS.
Give me a break.
Absolute BS. I mean, look, we talked about it in baseball this year. People were like, the bye week, and then only one team that had the bye got eliminated. Like, look, I'm sorry. This is a matter of
do a better job coaching your team.
To the point that you're going with earlier, the rankings only say so much. Right? Oregon was a great team. Ohio State only lost to them by a field goal in the regular season. They came back prepared and then punched them in the mouth, and the Oregon Ducks became the lame duck and lost by 3 touchdowns. Boise State, yes, they won their conference, but Penn State is a powerhouse, and they proved that by taking it to Boise State, who does not have the level of competition that you would typically find in the Big Ten or in the ACC or the SEC or whatever. And Penn State beat Boise State by 17. And then I will say this. If Georgia was healthy, again, we talked about it, talking about draft picks, Carson Beck out for the playoff because he hurt his elbow in the last game of the season. That might have been a different game but you play who was on the field, and Notre Dame took advantage of the fact that Georgia had a backup quarterback in there and won by 2 touchdowns. And then Texas, Arizona State went to double freaking overtime. Like, some of these were great games. Yes, there were some ugly games, but these were some really good games. And this is the way it should be. Texas, Ohio State, Penn State, Notre Dame. This is a Final Four you can be excited about, and that these are really the 4 best teams left.
Right. And this is what I'll say before we make quick predictions, is that, look, the rankings committee gets a good idea of who the top, let's say, 12 teams are to make the playoffs, but they don't get it right. And this is why I can't stand rankings in this format. I think a lot of these people voting don't know the game as well as they think they do. I think they don't see things. I do understand that injuries play into things at the end of the season, no doubt, but that happens in every other sport. The truth is this, Ray. They got the top 6 correct. All right, maybe the top 8. They got the top 8 correct, and they got the bottom the top 6 correct and the bottom 6 correct in terms of that's a good top 6, but they are completely interchangeable. And that's why I don't like when it's a 1-2. No, 1 through 6 makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. No, this was really well. This was a good year.
It's the best college football season ever. It's already been a good
100%.
All right. And again, the first round went as expected. Second round proved us right. And now we get down to it. Penn State, Notre Dame. Ray, your pick.
So Notre Dame is a 3-point favorite, and I don't necessarily understand why. Look, I get it. Notre Dame has a good offense. They play very well. Again, it's a 6-7. I just think Penn State's defense is just going to be something that is going to come out and going to hit Notre Dame in the mouth a couple of times, and I don't think they're going to be able to regroup. I'm taking Penn State over Notre Dame.
I'm taking Penn State. I'm taking the Nittany Lions, who just shut down the best running back in the game.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
Penn State, you and I agree. Nittany Lions going to the national championship. Also, Penn State playing for a lot more than people realize. Can be easy to remember the troubles that school had about a decade ago. They tried to end the program. This is a statement for this team, just getting as far as they are. I'm picking them to go to the national championship.
Yes, I'm writing these down as well. Yeah, no, I think Penn State, I think they're playing for, like you said, almost like a cause higher than themselves. They kind of show that they've come all the way back as a program. What's the coach there? What's it? James Franklin, right? Mm-hmm. And he's turned that place around in a beautiful way. And this is a chance for them to return to glory. And again, I think Notre Dame can take their 3 points and can well, you can turn them sideways and stick them straight up anyway. Penn State. I'm taking Penn State here. So moving on to Texas, Ohio State. Ohio State is a 5-point favorite at the moment. And I think that is fair. I think Ohio State, another team, they may have been ranked 8th overall, but this is a team clicking on all cylinders, a team that has a lot of talent. Texas has limped through the first 2 rounds of the playoffs, whereas Ohio State has won handily. I think Ohio State trying to also show that they have a point. Again, the only reason why they were the 8 and not the number 1 is because they lost to Oregon by a field goal. Because of bad clock management there, and not even a field goal, less than bad clock management at the end of their game. If they manage the clock better, Ohio State probably wins that and is the 1, and we're not talking about them even if he's being an 8 or an underdog. I'm taking Ohio State here, and I'm calling a Big Ten national championship, Ohio State versus Penn State.
And I was going to say to the people out there, this is the national championship you want. You've got these 2 Big Ten teams that have surged through the playoffs. They don't like each other. That's going to be a great game to watch. Great game. All right.
Yeah.
It's going to be better than 2 random teams that don't see each other throughout the season, just happen to be, which almost always ends up in a blowout. Right. Yes. That's going to be a violent game. All right. And I'm rooting for that game. That's my prediction. Yes. I want that game. That's the prediction.
Yes. Yeah. I want Penn State, Ohio State, and that's what I'm predicting.
I'm with you.
So cool. Moving on now to some other winter sports. Lee, little hockey news, a little bit of hockey action. The Rangers still suck. But I wanted to get your thoughts on the Winter Classic. The Blues won 6-2 against Chicago. And Lee, it was the lowest rated Winter Classic ever.
Yeah, well, that's what happens when you put a sub-playoff team against a team that's okay. All right? Like I said, the NHL doesn't have a ton of control, I guess, over who's going to these things. But look, we got to remind ourselves here, Ray, that the Winter Classic's not so much about rankings. It's about selling a baseball or football stadium out in a local place. They're not doing it because of the ratings. They're doing it for what they do. And I think people also forget, because I saw that stat too. You're forgetting, I don't mean you, you're forgetting there's an NHL game. There are several collegiate games, Michigan, Ohio State, all those NCAA Division I teams play there, the youth organizations that play there, the women's teams that play there. I mean, this spectacle is utilized for a full week. So it's no different than an event like an all-star game in another place. So I don't think the ratings matter per se. It was a weak matchup to begin with. Connor Bedard is not doing what he did last year right now. He is a superstar, don't get me wrong, but he's in a sophomore slump for him. Still better than most players out there. But Chicago's not a competitive team right now. So I never expected this game to go big. In fact, this was one of those games of like, oh yeah, that's tomorrow. No one was looking forward to it. Like Rangers Rangers Devils, like that's a different thing. I wish they had done that this year because it may give Rangers some energy. But no big deal, right? It's a regular season game. It's for the cities that it's in. I'm looking forward to seeing what they do next year with that. Should be much better.
Yeah, no, I agree, and it should be interesting to see. A couple little other hockey news: Alexander Ovechkin is back. His March
surging back.
He is a man on a mission. He is. He wants that record as soon as possible. And because of that, the Washington Capitals have surged to the number 1 seed currently in the Eastern Conference with a 26-10-4 record. Lee, do the Caps have one more cup run in them? Do they have one more deep playoff run? Is this one last hurrah for Ovi? Because I thought we thought their window was closing, and then they were just kind of like, let Ovi get the record, and that's what we're kind of playing for. But the Caps currently are the best team in the Eastern Conference and the second best team in hockey.
Yeah, no, I would say that I don't believe they have a deep playoff run in them. I do believe they will make the playoffs because I think their storyline is getting Ovi that record. I think once Ovi gets the record, if he gets the record this season, because he's still got a long way to go. People, he's only 20-something goals away. That's a lot of goals. he
would need almost a goal a game. Yeah, basically,
it's a lot. It's a lot. And remember, he's going for 900. He's not just going for the record. So
he wants to obliterate the record.
Yeah, he's not going to stop the second. He wants 900. He wants to be the only one on that list. No one's ever scored 900 goals before. Yeah. Keeping in mind too, he's on pace. He's on a pace faster than Gretzky. I don't think people realize that. I don't know if you know that. His goal scoring output is faster than Gretzky was to get to the record. He's the greatest goal scorer of all time. There's no debate. I think their story ends though when that story ends. I have a hard time believing that when that's done, they're going to have the motivation to try and win a Stanley Cup. I think they're surging because they want to help this guy out. Yeah. Right. I also think they're a little deeper than people thought they were. Right. Like they built that team. I think people are overperforming. But when you're surrounding someone chasing history like that, it inspires everyone to play better.
Yeah, everybody steps their game up.
Yeah, and also look, the Rangers' noticeable absence from there is also allowing a lot of teams to look like they're the top of the division. Right. We'll talk about them in a second.
Yeah, no, the Rangers really struggling. They give Shesterkin that massive contract, and then he's hurt.
Yeah.
Jonathan Quick.
Yeah,
there needs to be I've been saying it. I think that contract for Shesterkin was a mistake. Once he turned it down the first time, I was kind of like, okay, you don't want to be here. You don't want to be here. And I think that we've talked about locker room troubles and we've talked about all that stuff. And then Jacob Trouba gets sent out of town and Capo Caco gets sent out of town. And then the Rangers play worse. And Shesterkin played worse. And I don't know what's going on there. We've talked about it. That Laviolette probably needs to be fired, and he should. But I don't know what's up with this team. They have won 2 of their last 3. Whoop-de-doo. But
something's going on, and that's the point I'm making. Is that no one knows except the people at the Rangers, and that's why nothing's happened yet. So we'll see.
Yeah, we will see. They are currently the only teams worse than them are the Sabres. And technically the Islanders, they have the same amount of points, but the Rangers have more regulation and overtime wins and have played less games. So there's several tiebreakers favor the Rangers there. But excuse me. But yeah, no, they're a tough watch. They're a tough watch.
Yeah, they're very disappointing this season.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, so interesting to see there. But yeah, other things going on. I mean, it's sad too, because like Boston fires their coach. They go on a run. They're now currently 3rd in the Atlantic, right? And then you've got Colorado trades their Stanley Cup winning goaltender. They go on a run. They're now 3rd in their division. It's just it's fascinating to see. It's like it's obvious in the Central. That's the word I was looking for. It's interesting to see. It's like the Rangers need to make another change, and you see these other teams that have winning histories.
Something needs to happen. Yeah. Anything. Nothing is happening, and that's why the team sucks. Yeah. I'm sorry to cut you off. It's that simple. Fire the coach, fire the GM, trade some players, do something.
Yeah.
If you want, I still think this is where people disagree with me. There is time for that.
There is time
to get back into the playoff hunt.
Yeah.
But you got to act now.
Yeah. Yeah.
You don't exactly historically draft well, Rangers.
No, that is
Like,
very
what are
true.
you doing? What are you doing?
That is very true. Oh God. Anyway, moving on now over to the NBA.
Sixers are having some life.
Sixers have a pulse. They're only
That's about
6
as far as
games
I'll
under
go.
500.
That's as far as I'll go. They
Yeah.
have a pulse. They look pretty pissed off. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, they're still 2 games out of the play-in games in terms of the standings. My Knicks, after winning, I think it was 8 or 9 in a row, have now lost 3 in a row. Very streaky, but still third overall, 24-13. The Knicks hit a little bump in the schedule after a big Christmas Day comeback win against the Spurs team, who the Spurs are 500. They're playing pretty solid basketball. Victor Wembanyama is, and I really hope I said that right. Kind of, showing why that he was the highly touted super prospect that he was. He's putting up numbers that I'm not ready to say he's best in the league, but he's already quickly making a case to say he's top 5 and definitely top 10.
Sure.
Here early in his career, as he, at least the Spurs, if the season ended today, would have a play-in game. But boy, it's been an interesting first half to the NBA season as well. The Thunder have won 15 in a row. And this follows the Cavaliers' historic start. You have 2 teams. The Cavs are 31-4. The Thunder are 30-5. And now, of course, a hot regular season does not mean, put them in the NBA Finals, especially in basketball. But Lee, who could possibly, in your opinion, be a threat to these 2 teams aside from my Knicks?
Aside from your Knicks,
Yeah.
I think there's threats out there. I mean, it's too mid-season right now.
Yeah, I mean the Celtics are there, right?
I mean, you can't count them out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's experience there too. But team surging now does not mean they'll be surging later. So we will see.
Right, for sure. But the thing is, I mean, look,
Ronnie James is coming. No, I'm just kidding.
Look, the Lakers would be the 5, but I don't see the Lakers being a team that makes a deep playoff run. No. I think the Mavericks could if they get healthy. Obviously, they got a lot of injuries. Luka is hurt over there. But it's going to be interesting to see how the NBA season continues to play out. And I really hope my Knicks do something.
I do too for you, Ray. I do.
I have nothing else.
If the Sixers start to surge, though, watch out.
That's fair.
They could go on a 12-game win. They're good enough to do that.
That is true. We don't talk. We're going to move into something that we don't usually talk a lot of golf here on the show, but this is fascinating. The Tomorrow Golf League, founded by Tiger Woods and Rory McIlroy, of course, 2 phenomenal golfers, right? Like
great people,
greatest of all time level golfers. Definitely Tiger, anyway. It's a tech-infused golf league that's going to have a shot clock, that's going to have these simulation, kind of like those greens where you see you have the ball, you have the thing, and you hit it against the screen, and then it digitally goes as far as it's supposed to go, and they're going to score it that way. Lee, and I get it, it's trying to bring golf, which has typically had a very high barrier of entry for many, many people. Trying to bring it to the masses. Is this going to work? Is this just because of the names behind this? Is this going to be something that's catch on? Or is it something that it just feels like another gimmick that I see at Dave & Buster's, honestly?
Oh, I don't know if it's a gimmick, Ray. Look, I'll tell you this. Tiger Woods has seen absolutely the best and the absolute worst of the PGA, what it has to offer. And I think that game needs to become far more exclusive, far more competitive, and far more entertaining to watch. And I have a feeling that they're not exactly getting new viewership or young people watching the sport. Right? Golf has always been a little bit of an older audience. So you speed it up, you make it competitive, you add a clock, you add some urgency. Yeah, that could work. And you better bet your ass Tiger Woods and Rory McIlroy are big enough names to bring that to the forefront. Now, the trick is this. It has to be good. It has to be good. It's got to be broadcasted correctly. And it's got to be exciting.
Well,
otherwise,
ESPN, I think, is going to do the inaugural broadcast. So that's going to help.
It's got massive potential. All right.
Yeah.
Tiger Woods. And again, you never know what's real or not, but I have a feeling this guy's been butting heads with the PGA his entire career for a lot of different reasons that I don't want to get into right now. Okay. Yeah. But he's had to deal with a lot. All right. Yes. So I think he's doing what he was put here to do and maybe save golf a little bit because I think golf wronged him horrendously a lot along the way. All right. He didn't do himself any favors either.
I was gonna some of it warranted, some of it not. Definitely not.
Yeah. I think he wanted to get away, and I think they told him you're not going anywhere. That's what I think happened. All right. But his departure from Nike, his departure from the PGA here. Yeah, I think this is exciting. We'll see what happens.
We will see what happens. Speaking of departures, we're going to have some. This is going to be fun. We're going to get into some wrestling. We're going to kick things off with AEW. Big news here is that Rampage, the 1 hour Friday night show, has been canceled. That will no longer be airing as AEW makes its full-time, well, not full-time shift, but is starting to shift more into Max. But Dynamite and Collision will be the main shows for AEW because nobody wanted a 1 hour pre-recorded wrestling show on a Friday night. And especially now that WWE has expanded SmackDown to 3 hours, there really was no space or audience there for AEW, especially as they don't have much of an audience left anyway, as the product has gone completely off the rails. And it just is an absolute unmitigated disaster at this point. Tony Khan, I am available to book the shows for you. Please call me. I can help. But yeah. Lee, any thoughts on AEW pulling the plug on their 1 hour Friday night program?
No, look, it's consolidation. I was actually talking to a producer, Savi, before the show about this, and he reminded me that Khan has so much money that this probably isn't the end of AEW, but it is a consolidation of AEW. And look, they went up, they bit the toe of the tiger. The tiger said, nope, not today. You are still a mouse. And at the end of the day, it just shows that storyline, creativity, character, entertainment, output, all the stuff that the WWE does so well is the key to this working, right? And again, they bit the toe of the tiger when the tiger was sick and at a low point and couldn't compete. And the tiger came roaring back as they always do, as we predicted. We said it, the WWE will find a way. And Ray, here's the funny thing. Opposed to the WCW time period and the Monday Night Wars, they did it without even acknowledging AEW.
Very
like
little.
Monday night, the Monday Night Wars were very us versus them. This was like, all right, little mouse. Like, we see you. Thank you.
A couple of wrestlers would occasionally make a pot shot, but very rarely outwardly acknowledged.
It wasn't an all-out war. It was you are small and we are not.
Yeah.
Now, I will say this too, that, and I'm going to get into it. Last night, WWE debuted on Netflix. Your boy Ray was there in the building.
I was there.
I got to tell you, Ray, from a broadcast standpoint, it was okay. It wasn't what I thought it was going to be. It was just kind of meh.
From an in-person standpoint, it was kind of a meh show. They had a 3 hour show and they had 4 wrestling matches.
It's a 3 hour commercial. And that was the issue that I had with it. And I think it started out very strong. The introduction, Triple A, really a lot of, I mean, it's exactly what you expect from WWE. But I thought the opportunity was here to really boost some massive storytelling, some massive storylines. And they did a little bit of that. I'm not negating that. There were some title changes. There were some conversations that took place that do the future. But to me, and I'm interested to get your views as someone who's there, Ray, from a broadcast perspective, it was just like, we're on Netflix. Oh, we got a new audience and Netflix in the world. And it's like, guys, I don't think you had to grovel to the new audience. First of all, I don't think the new audience is watching you. I think the WWE universe was watching you. And what the WWE universe wanted was not Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson to come out as Dwayne Johnson and thank everybody. Although I love you, Rock. I do. We wanted the final boss to come out and go to Cody Rhodes and say, I told you never to do this to my family again. Whatever that storyline was. We expected
I wanted him to rip the Uafalo out of Roman's hands and take it for himself and set that up for WrestleMania. Like, that's what people wanted. We wanted Monday Night Raw. We didn't want, like, look, we get it. Like, yes, you have to acknowledge the past and you have to look to the future. You give your tips of the hats to Netflix.
But you do that by being there on Netflix. Yes. Again, another shout out to producer Sabi says, like, you're there. You don't need
you don't need to do the 3 hour thank you. Like,
Triple H is the only person that needed to acknowledge Netflix.
100%.
The Rock did not have to do that. He had this real awkward acknowledgement of Cody Rhodes, which
made no sense.
What are you doing? And again, like heavy fourth wall breaking in an awkward way. And then other things too, like always love seeing the Undertaker. Cool to see the American Badass, but it's like you did a lap around the ring and then left, and it's like,
it made no
gimmick.
sense.
Now that's my last image of him, not WrestleMania. I thought Cena did fine. I didn't think Cena was bad.
The Cena thing was fine. Kicking off the tour, announcing himself for the Rumble. I thought that was fine.
That was fine. Ripley match was a good change over the title.
That was a good match. You knew, but then also very predictable. Everything that happened last time was very predictable.
Yeah, it's just, and then I'll let you talk about the booze, but it's just it was just very okay. I was surprised at what's the right word here. I was surprised at the lack of, from my point of view, I got to say it like that. I was surprised at the lack of understanding of that audience. I don't think new people were watching wrestling last night.
No.
I think that was your chance to celebrate. We got here together as a WWE universe. We got here together. And like they kind of said that, but it was like, now check out this beer. Or like another one we talked about it before the show is like, it's The Rock. All right. We all know The Rock. All you had to say, if you wanted to give him a special intro, is one of the highest grossing actors of all time and the most electrifying man in wrestling entertainment, the final boss. We got the owner of Terramana, the owner of Zoa. I was like, what are you? The High Chief. I was like, what the hell are you doing, guys? What are you doing?
Yeah, we didn't
need. It was weird. How about that?
It was not weird. Good. And the sad thing is being there in person, we wanted to explode for something. And the only explosion was in booze and hatred.
It was a lot.
Hogan showed up. I mean, if you thought it was loud on TV, I have never heard booze that loud in my life. Like, and I sat near the pyro. Like, I was half deaf by the time the show was over. And like, it was still, the building rattled. The Intuit Dome rattled with the booze that rained down on Hulk Hogan to the point where you could see it on TV where he felt it.
Oh, you could hear
it. He was shaken visibly. And look, and there are people like some asshat on Twitter. Sorry, bleep me, Zavi, if you have to.
You don't have to be ass. We're good.
Basically, it was like, he's like, but he helped build the company. I'm like, you can celebrate Hulk versus Andre in WrestleMania 3 and still hate what he has become. You can still hate the person he is, but celebrate the wrestling that he did 40 years ago. You can you can separate the art from the artist. Hulk Hogan now is a terrible piece of crap who came out to shill a garbage beer. Sorry. Get out of LA. Bye-bye.
Yeah, I'm going to repeat something else our producer said. Savi, it's like, buddy, do you know where you are? You're in Los Angeles.
You're not
favored here. This is not your city. And again, the other hard part about it is, the guy can't even walk anymore. And it's like, I'm interested to know who made that decision. Is he still flexing his WCW creative control contract? I doubt it. All right. But like someone said, we'll bring Hulkster out here. We'll nod to Hulk. And it was a horrible promotion.
Yeah.
Right. We've teamed up, brother, with my beer company. I was like, Hulk, do that in Alabama.
Yeah.
You don't do that.
I've teamed up with Macho Man Randy Savage. I've teamed up with Andre the Giant. Brutal. And now I'm teaming up with this beer that is even worse than Bud Light. Because I'm Hulkamania.
Oh, it was so bad. It was
Hulkamania. If Hulkamania wasn't dead before, Hulkamania is dead now. 18,000 former Hulkamaniacs let him know you are no longer welcome here. Just go away.
Yeah, that
go away.
That might be the last time we see him. And I'll tell you, it was awkward. It was painful. Ray, on the TV, you could really hear the booze. In fact, it's the first time in my life that I was like, oh man, you guys might want to pump some fake crowd noise into this situation. And he did look visibly shaken. I'll give him credit that he did get through whatever he had to say.
He powered through.
All right. He did know, like, well, this might be an ad somewhere. So, but man, it was rough. That was a rough one. That was the biggest black eye on the night. And again, the night was not a black eye. That was a black eye on the night. It was just very like 5 out of 10. All right. It just was not great.
I think that's fair. I think 5 out of 10 is fair. It felt like for what was supposed to be the biggest Raw of all time.
Yeah.
It did not feel that way at all.
Deliver.
And especially,
Deliver.
And to be there in person at the unimpressive Intuit Dome. Sorry, Steve Ballmer, was not thrilled with all your facial recognition technology and all this other and the seat arms light up. Ooh!
Yeah, we all saw that, by the way. I'll say this too, Ray, just in closing on this little segment, is that what the people deserved, if you wanted new viewers, is do what you do great. Do your storylines, right? And create new storylines. You hook them immediately to keep watching. If they're new, if they're old, if they're young, you continue your stories. That's what Netflix is.
Yeah.
And instead we got a commercial. And it's like, man, if you were new to wrestling last night, pun intended, you're probably not coming back after that.
No.
All right. Now,
no.
The good news is they've got plenty of time to figure it out.
Yes.
Right?
I mean, look, I think they're going to get back on track pretty quickly here.
Dumb. They could have done that totally better. Anyway,
100%.
They'll be fine.
100%.
5 out of 10. Not WrestleMania was like a 9.7 out of 10.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's the gauge I'm going off of. You had an opportunity to do that.
Yeah. No, look, I was happy to have been there, but boy, to say I was there.
Yeah.
Although by the way, they were selling I Was Here t-shirts, Netflix Raw 2025. Why? Like, I know why you're selling it, but why would you buy that?
No, the shirt should have been Raw is Netflix. That's good.
Yeah, but even still, I still would not have. I don't know. If I was going to buy a wrestling shirt, that would not have been the wrestling shirt I bought. But I'm still happy with my Kevin Owens.
We'll see where it goes. Yeah, and the stadium from a TV perspective looked like the Thunderdome. It was really weird.
It is not a good. It might be good for basketball. I was not impressed for wrestling.
Yeah.
Also, need to really put that drone. I don't know how it looked on television. That drone was annoying as hell in person.
Oh, well, it looked pretty cool on TV. The shot of them coming in.
Well, I'll say that
we were like, that's getting pretty close.
It did get close, but close in an annoying way to the point where like I wanted to start throwing my hot dog at it. Like I wanted to
that. You could have got on TV.
Yeah, like I don't want get that drone away from the fans. It's annoying if you're there in person. Anyway, moving on to we're transitioning. Wrestling always transitions lovely into the geeks.
I got a rapid fire. The geeks.
Yeah, we got a lot. We got a lot of geek stuff to get to. Kicking off with Lee. Did you see Sonic 3 over the break?
No, I was going to, and then we had some illness in the house. I can't wait to see it. I've heard nothing but good things about it.
It's phenomenal.
All right. We'll come back to it.
Phenomenal. It sets up Sonic 4.
Yeah.
Jim Carrey is God. I have always been a huge Jim Carrey fan, and I just feel like that him is Robotnik. It's early to mid 90s Jim Carrey again in his prime. It is just the comedy. He is just brilliant, but it's just really well written for a film. It is truly a film for all ages, right? There's enough nods to the fan base and to the games, but it tells a compelling story. It takes just enough liberties to be like, we're going to massage this so it makes a lot more sense in the context of everything in a modern time. And like, they did a great job with it. Keanu Reeves kills it as Shadow. Like it's not like overpowering to be like, oh, that's Keanu. No, it's like, oh man, that is Shadow. That's awesome. Like he really embodied it, like much like Idris Elba did with Knuckles. It's just a really, really well done. Again, not to spoil anything, but it was just really, really well done.
We're going to talk about it when I see it in the Sonicverse.
Yeah, the Sonicverse is one of the best things going on right now.
Do I need to see the Knuckles TV show before this?
No, I didn't. And from what I understand, is there's like one reference and that's about, and that's all you
Good to know.
Yeah,
Good to know.
Yeah, you do not need to watch the Knuckles show to enjoy this film. So because I loved it and did not watch Knuckles show. So I saw the one TikTok clip of being like, this is what you need to know. And it's like, this dude. Cool. Okay, whatever. Great. Moving on. Superman. Got the Superman tease. We talked about it. We were cautiously optimistic before it launched, and then it launched over break. The tease
it was fine. I thought it was a good tease.
I thought it was a good tease.
Yeah, it's good. I think it's a few things. The film is definitely going to be made for a younger audience. So for the traditional Superman people, relax. I'm just gonna tell you that now. Relax. This is for kids, not little kids, but kids. I think it's made for us too, Ray. But I think it's made for a younger audience. And I think again, we anticipated this. It's a universe. It's the DCU already exists in this universe. They are not going to spend a lot of time on origin story. You know who Superman is. You know who Green Lantern is. You know Mr. Fantastic.
Batman. You know all.
You know that. Yeah. So like you're going to be walking into a story that's live. All right, which I think is the way to do it. And James Gunn is the perfect person to do this. The guy that brought Guardians and made them make sense is the guy to do this. So I'm excited.
Well, and that's the thing is that I think that for both better or worse, this is going to have a little bit more of that ensemble feel to it.
For sure.
Because you're going to get Mr. Terrific and Hawkgirl and Green Lantern. I think
I said Mr. Fantastic. I apologize. Mr. Terrific.
Yeah, yes, Mr. Terrific. We'll get to Mr. Fantastic later.
Yeah.
Mr. Terrific, you have these characters and you're going to probably have larger roles than you expect in this film.
Yeah.
And I think that's why, because that's James Gunn's comfort zone, right? Where he can play multiple characters off of each other. And if you wanted something that just centered around Superman and his rogues,
we got that and we ruined it.
Right. So now you're going to try something else, and we'll see if it works. We'll see if it works.
That's where I'm at too. And
I like the costume. I liked Corn and Sweat, at least in the brief bits that we got of him.
For the people complaining about crypto,
get off it.
Screw off.
Yeah.
It's part of the comics. It's not new. They nailed it. It looks great. I'm happy to see crypto.
Yeah, I'm fine with it. No issues with it. Like, we'll see how it plays out, but I'm perfectly fine with that. That was not something I had issue with.
No, it was awesome. I was excited to see it. I was like, it's crypto. It's comic books. Relax, people. It's not real life.
Yeah.
We gave you the real life version. You didn't like it.
Yeah.
Not all your fault, to be fair.
Yeah. Another little bit of Superman news, a little breaking news. I'm going to break here on the show.
Ooh, boy, let's do it.
I talked about it when we did it live, the Superman Reborn stage reading with Elias and Mark Jones, of course, the producer of the original Superman films with Christopher Reeve and the writer of what would have been the fifth Superman film. We did a stage read of what would have been that fifth Superman film, of course, in conjunction with the Christopher and Dana Reeve Foundation. We recorded it. I mentioned we recorded it, the stage reading, January 13th, Monday, January 13th, less than a week away. That will be live on the interwebs for you to go watch it and to continue to donate and whatnot to a wonderful cause. Again, we're just going to put the links up. I don't want your money. Just go directly to the link.
I'm going to watch it and send the money. Where's my compendium?
Yes, that's different. No, that's a different thing. Different thing.
Where's my compendium, Ray?
The compendium is a different thing. But Superman Reborn wanted to announce that here on Geeks Who Like Sports, Superman Reborn, January 13th. Yes, that is breaking news.
Universe. Huzzah!
Yes, January 13th. That should hit on the interwebs. So stay tuned for that. I'm going to put the links, of course, everywhere on all my socials, and we'll put it on the Geek socials and whatnot, so you can all watch it and enjoy it. So, and who knows? Maybe it'll be better than James Gunn's Superman. I don't know. James, call me. I need a job. Anyway. Moving on now, we talk about Sonic, we talk about DC, moving over to Disney and all the wonderful stuff of Marvel and Star Wars and other fun stuff.
Time, space. It's not a linear path.
No. But
ponder the question with me, Ray. What
if? Jeffrey Wright was phenomenal as Uatu the Watcher. And
yes, I'm glad they finally named him.
yes, and now it makes sense why they hadn't earlier.
Yeah, I guess spoiler alert, by the way, that wasn't a really big one, but spoiler alert if you haven't seen it yet. Spoiler alert. We're talking about
spoiler. The season 3 is all out and released, and we watched it over the break. And yeah, I think we talked about this. I think we liked it. I still think season 1 is the best, but I like season 3 more than season 2.
I didn't really like season 2 that much. It had moments. Season 3 was solid. Again, it got back to the season 1 format of just a different story every week. They did not connect like they did in season 1. Right. The final 2 episodes are its own thing.
Yes.
But I don't know why they made this the final season. I don't know why they got to this. Oh, that's it. We're done. I think people would have been fine with this kind of week to week, something different every week. It doesn't always have to connect. I am glad they brought back Infinity Ultron. It was a cool story to end the series with Uatu, and I don't know. I said the other missed opportunity was that I thought they could have had more X-Men in this season.
Yes.
They did have Storm, of Asgard. But I thought that we saw Uatu in X-Men 97 before the demolition of Genosha.
Yeah.
I thought they could have done something with that because they already did. If you're going to put him in that, why not put him in this?
Yeah.
But look, good season. The first season I'd say was a solid 8 out of 10. I really enjoyed it. Season 2 was like a 4 out of 10 for me.
Mm-hmm.
This was 6.5.
I was going to say splits the difference.
Yeah, it's like a 6.5, right? It was good. I'm glad I watched it. Won't be rewatching it.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. I agree with that wholeheartedly. No, but I agree. I enjoyed it. Some of the standalone episodes were more fun than others. I really liked the Old West episode in 1872. I thought that was a lot of fun.
Yeah, that was fun. But again,
Shang-Chi and Hawkeye and Iron Fist. Yeah. No, the only thing out of that, again, spoiler, is that you have that one moment where the Watcher interferes just a little bit, and it kind of continues to tick off the Eminence and the Watchers above the Watcher.
Right, and that was the connecting point of the episodes, and it's like it's like we already knew we did that, so I don't know.
Yeah, it wasn't. Yeah, but no, but overall, so I also really liked the episode with Wanda. Not Wanda, excuse me. Agatha.
Yeah, that was
episode
great.
2.
That was fun.
Yes.
That was
the old timey Hollywood Agatha episode. I think was a ton of fun. But I also will say I appreciate there were 2 episodes that talk about the Celestial and the emergence and remind you, this is a thing. This is the thing. The other movies haven't talked about it. Oh, they're gonna start now, obviously, with Captain America in a few weeks.
Which is why they did it in this. This was also a little bit of a let's remind you of certain things that you probably forgot about.
Yes, that like we get it. The Eternals was really, really bad, but this was an important thing in the universe. So remember, there's a sleeping Celestial in the Indian Ocean.
Paramount,
so
and then also like Riri was in the show, obviously.
Yes,
like Ironheart.
Yes, and the Hood. They're setting up for Ironheart. Yeah. So there was a
reminder. Yeah, it was a little reminder. Yeah.
Yes. So, and speaking of Disney Plus shows, I thought this was a little crazy, but I guess it is the price of a movie and doing business now. Andor season 2, a show that I didn't watch because I watched the first episode, was bored.
It did get better. It did get a lot better.
I heard it get better, but again, I don't have time. We're gonna get into it. I'm gonna do a thing with my video game top 10 later in the week, where it's like there was one game that people were like, you didn't play it. Like I played it for 12 hours and I didn't want to play it anymore. So it's not like Game of the Year.
That's important.
Yeah, like Andor season 2 is going to get a budget of $290 million.
Yeah.
Lee, that seems like a lot for a TV show.
It's a movie budget. No, it's a movie budget. It's a trilogy budget. I mean, it's that's how you have to kind of look at that. Okay, keep in mind we're playing athletes almost $1 billion now, so I think it's a film budget.
They're not worth it either.
No, they're not. And again, look, Andor season 2 will probably be a trilogy length, right? It's going to be 6 to 8 hours probably of viewership. I think that budget is in line. The first one did very well. It was critically acclaimed. I will tell you, Ray, the first one itself is kind of like a trilogy. I know you're not going to watch it, but there are some really good segments of that show, and it ended strong. Right. So, as you get closer to Rogue One, I think it's going to pick up. I think they have a story. I also think they're investing into that time period of Star Wars. Right. I was going to say to you, too, I'm guessing you haven't been watching Skeleton Crew.
I have not. No,
I'm highly recommending it. It is good. It has captured Star Wars old and new. And the experience of following 4 children around has been very enjoyable. So I'm going to say to you, depending on where they go with this is very important, but I am really enjoying this week to week way more than the Acolyte, way more than even Andor season 1. I mean, this really captures the childhood joy of Star Wars. I highly recommend it.
Yeah, we were both disappointed by the Acolyte for a variety of
reasons. Was not good television for but I'm telling you, Skeleton Crew is really nailing it.
Yeah. All right. Well, I will try at some
point. You won't be bored in the first episode. How about that?
Okay. Well, that's a good thing.
And it's getting better. It's like it's building and building in a good way. Acolyte didn't build like this. Acolyte's like, where are we going, guys?
Yeah.
This show's like, this is where we're going.
Yeah. So they're like, oh, we're gonna repeat a whole episode episode. We're gonna repeat a whole episode at the end, towards the end of the season, just because.
Dumb.
Just because.
Yeah, this show's not
Ugh.
doing that right now. And
Oh,
again,
God.
the mysteries of the show are fantastic. And you want to know, where they're going, and you want to know answers to certain questions. They're really nailing that side of it. I highly recommend it.
Okay.
In fact, they did something in the last episode I saw that I've never seen done in Star Wars, and it's like the most Star Wars thing you could do, if that makes sense. All right, you got to watch.
They were twins?
No, they didn't do twins this time. Thank God.
Oh, thank goodness.
No, it's it's spaceships and it's droids and it's all the stuff you love. There's I don't want to give too much away. All right, just there's pirates. I mean, you got to check it out, dude. It's really fun.
All right.
I got to say this too, real quick. I got to say this to you, Ray. This is not real. It's not really a spoiler. This is something I noticed that I'm not sure other people are going to notice. So the one of the pirates' names, or like the Jude Law character's name, is Captain Silvo.
Mm-hmm.
And someone referred to him as Dash the other night. And it's making me wonder. It's the time period is correct. You know what I mean? So I don't think that's where they're going, but it's like, why would you call him Dash?
You don't let his name be Dash Silvo.
No, it fits Dash Rendar.
That's what I'm saying.
Right?
Like, don't tease us like that.
There's other things too. So I'd say I think it's a red herring, but I'm saying to you, like, it's good. It's a good show. Go watch it, please. 20-minute episodes.
It better be Dash Rendar.
I've convinced you.
I want Dash Rendar.
Who doesn't?
I want Shadows of the Empire back. Shadows of the Empire shouldn't be a legend.
No, it's the greatest novel ever written for Star Wars. And I'm saying that over several popular novels.
Disney did some really good things, and they did some really bad things.
Yeah.
Anyway.
You can call it legends. It's real to me.
I'm not in charge of Star Wars. Kathleen Kennedy is, even though she shouldn't be.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, moving on. Speaking of things that we all need to try, have you tried Marvel Rivals yet?
I have not. But
it's free. It's free to play.
Ray, I have children.
They can play it too.
No, they can just play it and give me 10 minutes to get a coffee.
That could work.
All right.
That could work.
Right now, it's Fortnite and NHL 25 in my house all the time.
I mean, they could play this alongside Fortnite.
That's fair.
In fact, actually, there is a crossover with this and Fortnite for extra skins and stuff.
I will download it. I will say Uncle Ray has asked us to download this, and when Uncle Ray says to download something, you do it, or else Uncle Ray will show up and he will eat all of your favorite foods from the fridge.
Yes, I like this threat. This is a good threat. No, so really quickly, Marvel Rivals, the season 0 ends this week, and with season 1. This is a lot of fun. We're getting a new map. New York City, which of course is the hub of Marvel Universe. We're getting a new villain in the story, as Dracula is now going to be inserted into the story as one of the villains vying for the time stream. And the Fantastic Four are joining. 4 new characters are joining the game January 10th. Mr. Fantastic, the Invisible Woman, the Thing, and the Human Torch. They are going to be part of it, and they are looking great. Kind of like their basic suits are kind of like, used to be the Fantastic Four were blue with white trim. These are white with blue trim, and they look like a lot of fun. Mr. Fantastic, he stretches with his fists. Invisible Woman can throw up force fields. The Thing is the Thing, and the Human Torch can throw a lot of fire. They look like they fit right in. And the fact that they're already adding 4 new characters, bringing the roster up to 37 in the first month. I'm excited. I love this game.
Good marketing.
I think it's great. I love it. I love the idea. And I'm sure, obviously, with the Fantastic Four film coming out later this year, there'll be some movie crossover stuff later on.
It's smart. Smart timing.
Yeah. But I'm excited. I love the idea that they're going to use Dracula. That means, they're going to probably bring Blade in at some point.
You can't make a Blade movie without that song now. I think it's
I know. Yeah, 100%. Yeah. But no, I'm excited. I'm excited to see what they do.
I will download it. I will download. You've convinced me. We didn't have to create a podcast 5 years ago, Ray, for this. You could have just asked. Okay? I know you were thinking about this then. Back when the Wolverine game was announced.
Yes.
Still not out.
Still not out.
Joking aside. No, I do get it. I do. If I can get my kid off Fortnite and playing Marvel stuff, that would actually be more beneficial to me.
Yeah.
Because Fortnite annoys the hell out of me. So we can we'll have a conversation in the future. I respect Fortnite for everything it's done, everything it's become, and the creativity.
Yes.
It's brilliant. I even enjoy playing it, like the matches. But when you add 10-year-old logic to games, oh man, is that frustrating for an adult? Great for them. Totally love it. But I got to leave the room. I can't sit there and watch them scream at each other and not know what the hell they're doing when there's such a simple solution to most problems that they can't figure out.
The lack of efficiency is infuriating.
Yes, they need Blade to come in.
They'll figure it out, hopefully, eventually.
Hey, listen, I'm going to tease the whole audience here. If you made it this far, Ray Carsillo, former editor and previews editor for Electronic Gaming Monthly, video game connoisseur, someone who knows more about games. He's forgot more about games than you will ever know, is giving his top 10 games of the year list on our mashup this week, in lieu of our mashup, excuse me. Top 10, Ray Carsillo. This is must watch, listen, view, whatever, receive, consume content. Coming to you live this weekend. Make sure you listen to it and share it with all of your friends, because if Ray says it, it's true. This man has received death threats for his reviews. Not a joke. You can be on the in crowd. You can be on the in crowd. I'm on the in crowd. I'm protected here in Philadelphia, very far away from Ray. You'd have to travel the whole country if I'd agree with him and you come after me. Listen to that mashup this weekend. It's not the mashup, in lieu of the mashup. I've said it many times. I'm Lee. That's Ray. Top 10 games of the year. Ray, I'll let you close it out.
Yes. No, it's going to be good. I beat 65 games this year and 3 of DLC, but the DLC, of course, not eligible for Game of the Year because I'm not the Game Awards. 43 of those 65 games were eligible for Game of the Year, and we'll explain this again in the show because like some of those games were like 20th anniversary editions.
55 of those 65, Ray, will not make the list. But find out who did make the list this weekend on Ray Carsillo Brings You, sponsored by me, the top 10 games of the year. Go ahead, Ray, close this out.
So stay tuned for that. Thank you all, and thank you all for staying tuned for this. We had a great show, a lot to talk about, a lot of sports, a lot of geek stuff. But yeah,
we'll do it again.
We're back. We're back and better than ever. It's 2025. So happy New Year! And for Lee, I'm Ray, and this has been Geeks Who Like Sports. Good night, everybody.